Watcher coming at you today in Watcher of Realms. Welcome to the video, guys. Send us some positive vibes and some love your way, especially if you need it out there today. Hey, today was going to be a hero guide on Edith! Edith! I mentioned All in the Family, Archie Bunker, and Edith, and what it made me think of in my previous video when I summoned her, and I got like 4 comments being like, Ash, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. So thank you for making me feel old. I appreciate that. The thing with Edith is some people say she's like the worst, hero added this year, and she sucks, and she's absolutely atrocious. Some people say that she has some utility that you can add to your account, to your teams. I fall somewhere in the middle. I don't think she's that compelling. I think she's rather redundant in a lot of ways, but I do think she can add some value to some accounts out there, particularly in Gear Raid 4, with that knockback effect and stuff like that. I think she can be useful. I intend to use her on my team, and I probably have a video close to ready right now, or I do have a video close to ready. So maybe tomorrow on that one. But it really got me thinking about this game right now, and I wanted to just kind of have a candid conversation with you guys, if that's okay with you, right? So a few things on my mind, 3 things, Number one is I'm drowning. Not because there's too much to do or anything like that, or I'm too busy. It's actually because of the watering down. You can feel it. It's visceral. You can feel the watering down of the hero pool inside the game, right? With all these, what they've been doing lately, too. It's a little sneaky. Instead of releasing 2 amazing, really viable and attractive heroes at the same time, they pair an underwhelming hero with a very, very good existing hero, like a Comet and an Edith, right, in an event. And then everybody gets bummed out if you don't get the Comet, right? And it's actually a great part of this game, but it's also a flaw of this game, that wanting a dupe of an already existing hero is way more valuable, that provided they're good, than a new underwhelming or redundant hero, right? Because of the awakenings in this game. So it's very interesting that you kind of root for not the new hero, because the new heroes lately, they feel a bit redundant. And what I'm trying to drive at here is beyond the watering down of the hero pool, because hey, newsflash, it's a hero collector. It's a gacha game. They're here to make money, and they're never going to stop releasing new heroes. So if you want that, or if you don't expect underwhelming heroes or OP broken heroes to come in the future, you're playing the wrong game. It's going to happen regardless of what we do. So I like to focus on things that we can control versus that we can't control. So they're going to come whether we like it or not, right? But number 2 is, if they're going to continue releasing super underwhelming or good or mediocre, whatever heroes in the game, man, we've mentioned it before, and I hate to kind of belabor the point here, but I do think this is something that we can compel, Moonton to do more regularly, and that is balance the underwhelming ones that we have in the game. Now, they've shown a massive propensity to jump in there and deliver those nerf hammers, right? Fix bugs, deliver nerfs, however you want to do it. They've not been shy about that. But what about the buffs? Not every hero in these games needs to be the best. They don't need to overbuff them. But I think I'm a firm believer that not just the legendaries, there's not even that many epics in this game, frankly, right? If you look at each class, some of them only have like 10 epics in a class, and a lot of them are really underwhelming. Not everybody, again, needs to be a Dolores or a Hollow or an Idril or yada, 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 Baron. But there still ought to be some limited viability in particular areas of the game for most heroes in the game. So, hey, if you're going to add all these heroes, that's cool. How about buffing the super underwhelming ones so we're not really bummed out when we summon? Because I'll be honest with you guys, it brings me to my 3rd point here, and this is the most important one, at least that I wanted to kind of share and see if anybody has the same thoughts as I do, especially people who come from Raid, like I do, or people who come from other hero collectors in the genre, right? Is in this game, the way it's designed, one of the coolest things is that it's kind of a tower defense type genre, right? It's really cool. But it also has a weird limiting effect. And I know I'm a spender in this game. Guilty as charged, right? I don't want to paint with a broad brush here and pretend like all of you guys are in my shoes, where, frankly, I don't really feel the desire to even summon anymore in this game, right? But I do hear from you guys in the comments, free-to-play players who can clear level 21 Gear Raid dungeons, right? Free-to-play players who are able to progress to cover endgame content in Void Rift, right? So I know it's possible. Takes a lot longer, obviously, but it's only a year old. This game's only a year old, right? And the point I'm trying to drive home here is it's really twofold. Number one is once you have a few defenders built, a few healers built, a few, mages, each class, right? A few mages, a few fighters, and a few marksmen. I mean, what do you really need after that? You know, there is some restrictive content, there's faction trials, and obviously Emerald Codex, some bosses require different attributes and stuff like that. So I don't want to be too extreme here, but there's something missing to me. There's something missing in this game. And I have a hunch, it's just a hunch, because it feels like everything's redundant. My point is everything feels redundant after that. Oh, Edith. Oh, Falcia. I'm not trying to pick on Falcia. I think Falcia is great, but she's like another fighter. Okay, another pretty good fighter, you know? Everything feels, to me, fairly underwhelming. The only things that don't feel underwhelming nowadays are like, oh, Praetus has a broken ability that just kills the whole map. Like, yeah, that feels different, but arguably it's not even good for the game necessarily, you know? And I'm not asking for a freaking Praetus nerf. I'm just saying that everything feels rather similar to me, you know? Orym, he feels the same as every other defender, or worse. But I guess part of the reason I feel this way is because like the dynamics of gameplay, right? In Raid, you go into a battle and you can afford to have redundancy, right? Because it's a turn-based combat system, right? Depending on the speed of the champion or whatever. And then everybody can do extra, you can do even more damage, or you can do, there's a lot more control and debuffs that seem to play a heavier part in the gameplay, seem to lend themselves more cohesively to the gameplay of Raid, for example, right? In Watcher, there is some elements of that, right? And there can be some redundancy in battle, like a few marksmen, et cetera, et cetera. However, the big thing, my hunch is, that gives me that feeling of redundancy on every hero of every new class. The reason I'm not getting thrilled to summon every weekend anymore in this game is I think it has to do with buffs and debuffs. I think that's what it has to do with. Now, obviously, this game has buffs and debuffs, right? I mean, there's slow. There's a little bit of control built into this game, right? There's a lot of slow and freeze, right? That's fine. There's some knockback, a little bit of stun, right? Here and there. And then there's like physical and magic damage reduction as well, right? So there are some dynamics of those buffs and debuffs, no doubt about it. But it doesn't feel like a major part of the game, like it does in other games of this genre. And maybe, again, that ties into just the tower defense aspect of things, you know, just the way the gameplay works. But I never really think, other than a little bit of control, right, and maybe Guild Boss having a debuff or something like that, I don't really walk into battles in this game trying to min-max my teams, trying to min-max my times necessarily. I don't really think about, okay, I want these 10 debuffs like I do in Raid, you know, or I want to stack up like these 8 buffs on my team. There's of course, there's like invigoration stuff. There's a few small incidences of buffs, but it doesn't feel, for a game that feels so dynamic in terms of the gameplay and the tower defense, it doesn't feel very dynamic in terms of the cohesion of buffs, debuffs, and synergy on my actual team that I'm building. Thus, it feels like every defender is a defender for the most part. Some exceptions. You know, some can revive themselves. Some have a shield. Some have a bigger shield. You know, but like, it feels to me like even healers. Like, okay, I got Vortex, great. Okay, I got, you know, like, I'm just trying to, oh, Aelin. Okay, great. Oh, Gwendolyn. Okay, a little shield here. Shield, that's her thing. Shield. Ezrin. You know, okay, Sadie. And again, with Sadie, she does have something unique about her. So there's some, like I said, there's some exceptions. And there's Rage Regen and like a Leia, Elowen, you know, but it doesn't feel the same to me, you know? I feel like I would love to see, and I really, this is the first time I've ever uttered these words in my life to anybody. So maybe you could all be watching right now being like, dude, this guy's crazy. I have no idea. Who cares? Who cares about buffs and debuffs? But I feel like there's something missing in the actual dynamics and the cohesion of the team. And I think that's what it is. I think that if you were to release heroes that felt like they're really bringing something unique to the table. And hey, when I approach a raid battle, I'm like, okay, who's going to be my decreased speed? You know, who's going to be my decreased defense? It's a must-have. It's a must-have, not a nice-to-have like this game, you know? So I'm not sure if you guys have any thoughts on that, any solutions on that. But again, I just wanted to have kind of open dialogue with you guys. And hey, if you guys have some ideas, if you guys agree or disagree with me, or you have any solutions, you know, to what I'm talking about, or reasons you think I'm incorrect, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments and then maybe make a follow-up video, bringing you guys into the conversation as well. So if you see somebody in the comments that you agree with, go ahead and give it a thumbs up or add your own 2 cents in the comments below as well. But, I'm left with a feeling, kind of starting where or ending where I started, excuse me. I'm kind of left with an overall feeling of this game that I kind of hate to say it. I still like the game. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not stopping the game. I enjoy it. But it's left me feeling like every weekend, progressively, every summoning event, I should say, progressively feels more and more underwhelming, or I'm less and less compelled to go for it because I feel like this high redundancy. They're not going in there and buffing the crummy, heroes out there, and they're releasing more underwhelmings. It all kind of permeates into this feeling of malaise that's kind of crept over me here, So anyway, I can't be the only one. At least one of you guys agrees with me. Hopefully, that's all I have to say today, guys. Thank you for watching till the end, and as always, take care.